So you've been watching Auntie V for a while and you've started budgeting, maybe you're even saving money, or maybe you're even investing. But what you really want to know is, whilst you're on this journey, what are the kind of financial or money regrets that you should be avoiding? Yeah, Auntie V, you read my mind. Well, I'm sure by reading the title, you already know what's going to be happening. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 8 financial or money regrets to avoid today and in the future. Okay, great, Auntie V. I know you're efficient with timing, so let's just get to it. Okay, so the first financial or money regret that I think you should be avoiding is overspending. Now, if you are new to my channel, you might not know that this is something I talk about all the time, and I'm very, very passionate about this. And if you're subscribed to my channel, then you probably already know how passionate I am. But the reason why I keep saying this and the reason why I keep talking about people that might be overspending and why you should be avoiding this is because of the factors that happen externally that could really lead you to overspending. Now, in my mind, particularly when I'm talking about the UK and the US, we basically have a consumer economy. And what I mean by that is our economy is basically reliant on consumer spending. So basically, in simple terms, when people go out to spend money, that's great for businesses because essentially they get to make money. So once you've spent that money, if you've bought those clothes or you've bought that car, that business is going to make money. Now, when that business has money, they have options. And what a lot of businesses will do is actually invest back into their business. So part of that could then be hiring new employees. And so with those new employees, they've obviously now got an income coming in. And so that means they also get to spend their money. And then again, those people will go and spend their money at another business. That business makes more money, invests in themselves, hires other employees, and so on and so on. So it's almost like a cycle. And then at the same time, the government will love that because the more employees you have, then the more taxes are being paid. And so when I'm talking about our economy being reliant on consumer spending, what I mean is that in order for our economy to grow and our businesses to grow, we need people to go out and spend their money so that businesses can then reinvest back into their business, hire new employees, and then those people can of course spend their money as well. And so that's why you'll see that the government or even the Bank of England or the Fed in the US are really going to try and get us to spend our money because essentially that's going to help grow the economy. Yeah, but what's that got to do with me and my money? Now, the reason why I've given you guys this context is because I really want you to understand what your spending basically means for the economy. But the reason why this is so critical to understand, because when it comes to like the Bank of England, the Fed, the government, whatever it is, they are going to want their economy to grow. And so they will want you to spend your money and they're going to be doing things that are going to encourage you to spend your money. But what you're really going to need to be mindful about is really thinking about how much you're going to end up spending. So for example, last summer in the UK, we had the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, which obviously meant that the government was encouraging us to actually go out to our restaurants. Again, this is really where you need to be careful because if they're bringing in all these initiatives, you could be at risk of overspending. And again, this is something that you totally want to avoid. But please guys, remember, I am not telling you that you shouldn't be spending your money. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't be using these initiatives, for example. But what I am saying is just really be mindful in terms of how much you're actually spending, because the worst thing that you want to do is build up these habits in terms of your budgeting and saving, but then end up being broke because essentially you overspent on everything. So the second financial or money regret I think you should be avoiding is actually procrastination. Now, the reason why I say procrastination is because I find that some people just really delay on things like retirement because they think they have so much time. Yeah, I've got years to retirement. Haven't you ever heard of YOLO? You only live once. And so rather than just taking the opportunity to maybe start with their pensions or start investing in ISAs, for example, they would rather wait until later on when they have more money so that they can start saving up for retirement. Now, the reason why this is so critical to avoid is because you will find that most people will end up procrastinating for a very long time. So if you're 20s, you might be thinking, oh, I've got loads of time left for retirement. I don't need to think about that now. I can just live for today. And when you get to your 30s, some of you might be having kids, and then you might be thinking, actually, I don't have time to be thinking about retirement. I've got to, of course, look after my kids. And then by the time you get to your 40s, again, you'll be thinking, actually, my kids are now going into secondary school or university. I have to deal with them first. And so essentially, you could just end up delaying all of your retirement savings and delaying all of that compound interest until later on in life, which essentially means that you either have to save up a lot more for your retirement, or you're going to have to live through a retirement where you don't really get much money. So especially when it comes to personal finances, procrastination is something you want to avoid. So the third financial or money regret I think you should be avoiding is becoming a bit too overconfident when it comes to investing. Now, again, before you clock out of this video, I really want you to just hear me out first. Now, I am definitely not saying that you shouldn't have any level of confidence when it comes to your investments. But what I found is that there are some people that can become so overconfident that really logic just flies out of the window. Because what could happen is rather than investing because of the fundamentals, you decide that actually you're just going to pick this hot stock because you think that it's going to go up forever, and you essentially put your life savings into that one stock. Oh wow, this stock went up by 50%. Yep, I'm going to buy it. If it went up by this much, there's no way it can go down. And then once you see your shares rising in value value, you even become more confident and start putting more money into that stock because you feel like it will never go down. And so this is really where euphoria starts to set in, and again, logic has just been thrown out the window and it's all about emotions instead. So again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have any level of confidence with your investments, of course not, but what I'm saying is that you don't want to become so overconfident that you literally forget about all of the fundamentals. So the fourth financial or money regret I think you should be avoiding is buying more house than you can afford. Now, when I'm talking about this, I am not telling you not to buy a house. So again, I'm repeating, I'm not telling you not to buy a house. But what I've seen is that a lot of people really don't, again, think about their finances when it comes to their house. And so when they're actually getting their mortgage, for example, they essentially just listen to their bank telling them how much their bank thinks they can afford, when the only person that's going to know how much you can really afford when it comes to your house is you. Because essentially what you might find is that a lot of people will end up getting these huge mortgages and then they don't even have any money, for example, to build up an emergency fund, to start investing, or even to actually buy things for their house. No, my house is going to be the biggest and best on that street, okay? And I love this quote, I think it was by Dave Ramsey, who basically says you do not want to be house rich and life poor. So again, when you are thinking about buying a house, really just make sure that number one, you can afford it, and number two, are you also able to reach your other financial goals as well? Because the worst thing that you want to do is get this huge house that you really can't afford, and then by the time it gets to retirement, you essentially have no retirement savings and you just have your house. So again, you want to have the opportunity to not only have a house but also meet your other money goals too. So the next financial or money regret I think you should be avoiding is actually just focusing on too many things when it comes to managing your money, because you do get a lot of people telling you to, of course, pay off your debt, save your money, start investing and do things like that. And that is something that I also talk about all the time. But what I do find is when I actually talk to a lot of people and when I work with some people as well, they want to essentially want to do everything at once. So they want to be saving up their money, paying off their debt, investing all at the same time. Okay, so I'm thinking to overpay on 3 of my credit cards, save up for that holiday that I really want to go on, and I may as well start investing too. But what I've really found is if you don't just have that focus on one thing, it can be really hard to essentially manage your finances because your money is just spread out everywhere. So for example, if I had 4 different debts, then I'm not going to try and overpay on all 4 of those debts. Of course, I will pay the minimum payment, but what I would essentially try and do is focus on one first, try and put all of my overpayments towards that one debt first, and then once that's paid off, I will then move over to the next one. And so what it essentially means is that you're then putting all of your energy to that one specific goal. Once you've then hit that goal, you can then move over to the next one, and you will probably find that you're a bit more motivated with that as well. So the 6th financial or money regret that I think you should be avoiding is just consuming all of your content but not actually taking action. Now again, I'm not telling you not to consume content, because if you're watching this video, then essentially you are consuming content, and of course I would love for you to continue watching my content too. But what I found is that with some people, they will tend to watch all the YouTube videos, read all the books and read all the blog posts, but they won't necessarily take action. Oh, I love watching these budget videos. I should probably make a budget too. And so what that essentially means is that they're going to be in the same exact place from when they started with their finances, and they wouldn't have made any progress at all. So again, I would definitely encourage you to consume your content. I mean, I even have books that are linked in the description below where you can actually start reading. You can of course watch YouTube videos like mine, and by the way, if you do like the video, then you may as well give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But also, if you're struggling to take action, then maybe you want to get someone that's going to make you accountable. So whether that's a friend, a partner, maybe you want to hire a coach, or you want to join a membership club. So for example, I'm part of a membership club called Financial Joy Academy, and in that membership I even have an accountability partner to make sure that I am taking action. So again, that's something that you can do. And if you didn't know, Financial Joy Academy is actually owned by Ken and Mary from The Humble Penny. So if you are looking for accountability, I would definitely recommend it. It's something that I'm of course part of. So if you are interested, you can also get 15% off with my link, so I will leave that in the description below for you. But essentially, when it comes to your personal finances, yes, consuming that content is good, but you need to figure out what you're going to then do with that content by taking action as well. So the 7th financial or money regret I think you should be avoiding is not actually communicating your finances with your partner or significant other. Now, of course, if you're single, then this is definitely something you might not be thinking about, but if you know that you're probably going to have a significant other or you're going to be with a partner, you really want to think about how you're actually going to be communicating your finances. Because what I found really interesting is that some married couples don't talk about finances at all. Some of those couples may not even know how much debt they have, or whether they have any investments or savings or anything like that. And it's so important to know, especially if you know that that person is really going to be involved in a lot of your life decisions. So ideally, you're probably going to want to talk about things like, what's your net worth? Do you have any debt? Do you have any savings? Are you currently investing? What are your money goals? These are going to be really important questions, especially if you are looking to maybe marry this person, or if you're going to be in a very long-term relationship. Now, I'm definitely not a relationship counselor. or anything like that. So I'm not going to be telling you, you know, when you should be talking to your partner about money and things like that. But what I'm saying is that you may want to think about communicating about finances and money, just because I do think it is a really important subject. So the 8th financial or money regret that I think you should be avoiding is not actually using your time wisely. And the reason why I mentioned this is because, especially if you are young and you maybe don't have a lot of commitments, I really want you to question yourself and ask how much time you're spending on things like educating yourself or even developing yourself, whether that be spiritually, mentally, physically, because I would say this is probably the best time to do it. So for example, when you come home from work, are you just watching Netflix for the whole night and then going to bed? Auntie V, haven't you heard of Netflix and chill? I don't want to do anything else. Or are you maybe spending the time to read some books, watch some YouTube videos, or maybe even start a side hustle, for example, or taking the time to do your budget or focus on your money goals? Because a lot of the times I see that people say that they can't focus on their finances, maybe because they don't have time. But if this is something that's really important to you, then I would challenge you to really think about how much time you're spending. So whether you want to do things like tracking how long you're spending on something, so for example, you might want to track how long you're spending on Netflix or spending on social media, and maybe think about limiting how much time you spend on those things, and then really focusing on other things such as personal development, your health, your finances, whatever it is. But whatever you want to do, I would just definitely say make sure you are using your time wisely, because that is something that you can't necessarily get back. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, what other money or financial regrets do you think people should be avoiding? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.
It's not a game.